Welcome to Seasoned Conversations, where experience meets insight and life's journey reveals its deepest wisdom. I'm your host, Kenneth Braswell, and here we share authentic stories of reinvention, purpose, and fulfillment from the seasoned paths we walk. Together, we'll explore how to age boldly, live intentionally, and embrace our second act with clarity and confidence. So pull up a chair. There's always room at the table for Seasoned Conversations. Welcome to Seasoned Conversations. I'm your host, Kenneth Braswell. Thank you for joining us. We're having such a great time having these seasoned conversations. And it's taken me in so many different directions with so many people. There are so many kinds of conversations I can have. I'm starting to have people call me now and want to tell their story about something that they've experienced. But the other thing that I'm trying to do with this conversation is to be able to pay wisdom forward, right? Because there are so many people who've gone through so many different things. And as a result of that, we've learned a lot of things from life. That's what this seasoning is about, right? And so this gray in my beard and this gray in my hair is God rewarding me for doing life, not winning at life, not losing at life, but for doing life. And only certain people can tell you about life. And those are the people who've actually done life. And so if you're talking to somebody who don't have any grays in their hair, they ain't done no life, because money is not an indicator of someone doing life. You can still have money and still have a lot of gray because your life is in chaos. And so this conversation that we're having within Seasoned Conversations is really about taking wisdom and unpackaging it through people's stories. I think that as a people, we learn the most by hearing stories. And that's why, when people come and sit in these chairs, this is not a presentation. This is not a training. This is a conversation. We're in a bar, we're in the barbershop, we're in the club, we're on the corner, we wherever we are. And it's a conversation because people learn from hearing the stories of others. And this brother that I have with me today is Mr. Ali Brathwaite. And I met Ali, now it's going on 22 years, I believe. Probably because I stopped doing Urban Voices in 2002. So it's been more than 20. So I've known you and your wife for more than 20 years. It's for seasoned people, that sounds kind of funny, right?
Yeah.
But when you're doing life together with friends, you don't count the days, right? You count the experiences. And so with this brother, one of the things that I admired about him was his calm demeanor. Like I was telling Tracy the other day, I was talking about you. And I said, I don't know if I've ever seen that man mad. I don't know if I've ever seen him mad. And second, I said, I don't know if I've ever heard his voice elevate. I said, the third thing, which is the most critical thing, is I've never heard him say an ill thing about anybody. That's you, bro. That's a different kind of dude. I wish I could say all those things. That ain't happening in my life. I've done all those things, but that is you in a nutshell. And I think what I've tried to learn from you is that you can be a man without those other things, right? You could be masculine without those other things, but that don't make you no soft man, right? And so I met you in Albany. You and your wife was running a bookstore, and you were doing something in a place that wasn't ready for it. They really wasn't ready for your creativity. They weren't ready for your mind. They weren't ready for the things. I remember you and Arlene having like these events that were so like provocative. It was like tea and a book and then like y'all had your bookcases, and the crazy thing about their bookcase, y'all, they had their bookstore, but more than half the books that was on their bookcase was their books. I'm like, who does that? Like, who has a bookstore and then have all their products? And then not only were they doing books, but they were also doing films and they were doing documentaries. That's kind of how you got hooked into Spit and Anger, when I realized that you guys could also do that. But you were doing something that Albany, New York wasn't ready for. You were, and you all were, before your time, which I believe is why you're now in ATL, but we'll talk to that before you get that. But talk to me about, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Queens, New York. That's where I grew up.
Queens to be exact?
Yeah, Queens, New York, Laurelton, Queens.
Wow.
That's where I grew up.
But you lived most of your life down there outside of, well, it's considered Queens by everybody but New Yorkers.
Yes, I lived in Queens, but as far as me growing up and as far as when I first took to the streets, it was in Far Rockaway, Queens.
Talk to me, because a lot of people don't know about Far Rockaway. I know about it only because it's connected to Brooklyn by the A train.
Yeah.
And I learned about Far Rockaway when I got older. I never went there in a car. I could drive by the time I was going there, and I was dating a young lady out there, which is how I found out. And it was just, it was weird in this sense, because you have to come down either the Van Wyck or the what's that other one? The Van Wyck comes this way, and the other one comes around the south side of Brooklyn, and it takes you to Far Rockaway Boulevard, and you get off and you go down. But anyway, once you get off and you start heading down that way, the complexity of the neighborhood changes. It's like no longer the hood anymore, but it's old school and it's mostly Italian. And so if you're from New York, you understand when you're in a different neighborhood and how your head has to be on a swivel to get through that neighborhood. And so I always thought it was interesting that people who lived outside of Far Rockaway had to go to that community in order to get to Far Rockaway if you weren't on the train. And then when you got out there, you were literally, as far as I'm concerned, in the middle of the water, because it wasn't us. The island is not that. It's not even it's not a mile wide, because the projects, right, it's on one side, the train is in the middle, and then the beaches and the water is on the other side. So it's kind of made up like that. So it's really kind of strange when we used to go out there, because I'm like, I felt like I never saw people when I went out there. And I wondered where all the people were. Talk to me about Far Rockaway.
Yeah, Far Rockaway for me was definitely, it was different than what I was used to growing up around. And the way I got out there is that I used to work at a supermarket called Food Town. And there is where I met a group of individuals who lived in Far Rockaway. So one night we got off of work, and they was like, "Yo, why don't you come to Far Rockaway?" So at the time, the only thing I knew about Far Rockaway was the beach. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I figured we'll go to Far Rockaway, hang out at the beach or something like that. And we wound up going there. And when we got there, we got to Edgemere Projects. So I'm like, oh, wow, they got projects here. Okay, all right. So we went in there, and there was people in the hallway, just like people all over. And I remember going there, the guy that I went with, he was like, yo, this is my man. And so they was like, hey, what's going on? And they just, was giving me five, giving me, I'm like, these people don't even know me, but they welcoming me like I'm family, because I was with him. So that is what drew me there, because I seen how they were all together, how they were showing love to one another. And coming from the part of Queens that I came from, it wasn't like that. We were more like separated. We like stayed to ourselves kind of thing. We'll see each other on the street and just say hi. But the way they did it, it was like, I was like, that's the type of people I want to be around.
Okay.
And that's how I started, spending more time out there in Far Rockaway, getting to know more of the people and the stuff that they do. And quite naturally, I just, got into things that I wasn't supposed to get into, things that my father actually talked against and was against.
Okay.
I wound up being the very person that, he used to arrest.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because my father was a cop. So he used to come home and even tell us stories about how he had to arrest this young kid This kid had a gun on him. He couldn't believe it. He was maybe 16, 17, had a gun. I had to arrest him. I had to call his parents and tell his parents. And, he was like, I never want that for you. And I'm like, I was just carrying a gun yesterday.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I know who you're talking about because I roll with the same kind of guys that carry guns and that's robbing and stuff. So I'm like, nah, Dad, you ain't got to worry about that. But I was doing the very same things that, he was fighting against.
That's interesting because where was he from?
He was from Tortola, the British Virgin Islands.
Wow. Because most adults in New York City didn't come from New York City. They came from either South or they came from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And back when, because you and I are about the same age, few years, but that was in the middle of the transition where there were a lot of folks coming into the U.S. from the Caribbean islands, Jamaica, Trinidad, Haiti was really coming into Brooklyn, coming into Queens, and they were kind of isolated because it seems like depending on what island you were coming from, you went to a particular place in New York, which now makes sense with respect to how he would end up in Far Rockaway, because Far Rockaway, I would suspect in his mind, is the closest thing that looks like a beach to him, right? Because of the water and that space. What kind of man was he?
He was strict because he was also in the Vietnam War. So that strictness rubbed off on us, so to speak, and it was something that I didn't like because I was at the age where I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I didn't understand at the time why he was so strict on us. Why did he want us to get good grades in school? I didn't see the purpose in school, honestly. I'm like, I'm learning all of these abstract linear equations, and for what? I'm not going to be using this stuff when I grow up. I just need to learn how to count money. That's it.
Right.
But he wanted us to have A's, maybe B's, depending on what it was. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand work. I was working since I was 14 years old because he used to work in Penn Station as a transit cop.
Wow, okay.
And at the time, he had got me a job at 14 in Penn Station because he knew the Reese brothers who owned like all of the restaurants in Penn Station at the time. So they was like, yeah, we'll give him a job, to work on the weekend because I was only 14. But I didn't understand that. I'm like, why am I working? This don't make no sense. I need to be outside playing or, whatever. But I didn't, at the time, of course, he's instilling in me hard work. You need to work hard. You need to get good grades, but I didn't understand why. So because of that, I rebelled against it, and I understand why now.
Right.
But back then, I didn't understand it. And one thing that came out of it was what I realized was my father was never emotional with me. He never said, I love you, never hugged me. But he was showing his love in different ways. As far as I seen that he wanted me to be better than him. That's why he always stressed the good grades. That's why he always stressed the working hard. Because, he dropped out of school at a very young age, like the 5th grade, he dropped out. And when he came here, only reason why he got a GED was because he joined the Army. So by him joining the Army, they give you stuff like that. Right. Literally give it to you. It ain't like it's like you join the Army, you go into the Vietnam War, okay. So he wound up getting his education that way and stuff like that. So he didn't want that for us. So I see it now, but.
Yeah. How was Mom?
Mom was the opposite in a way because she wasn't that strict. I could run my mother over. All I gotta do is like, Ma, and she'll be like, all right, don't worry about it. He'll put me on punishment. I'll go to her. Come on, Ma, all right, go ahead, go outside. I'll talk to him. And she'll go and talk to him. And, so she was the opposite in that sense.
Yeah, because men were different back then. I mean, I think some of what they were trying to do, especially for boys, I didn't grow up with my father, so I didn't have a man around my space. But now that I'm looking back at them, knew that a lot of what they were trying to get across to us was about survival. Right? They wanted you to be able to come home at night because they know the streets can take you, right? And so when I grew up, probably a little different because you were coming through in the mid 80s. I was coming up in the kind of mid 70s, later mid 70s. During that time, a lot more gang activity was taking place, at least in the sense of territory and those kinds of things. By the time you were coming up, gangs were kind of differently affiliated because they was wrapped around a drug gang and things of that sort. That wasn't the case when we were growing. They were just gangs. They were just, protecting territory. How old were you when you began to come out of Far Rockaway to explore some of the rest of the city? Like, how old were you when you finally went to the Bronx?
When I went to the Bronx, I would say I was like 18 when I went to the Bronx.
Now, did you not go because you were told not to go, or you just had no interest in it?
No, I did. I mean, I went to the Bronx early because I had an aunt that lived in the Bronx, so I went when I was a kid.
Okay.
But as far as going by myself to the Bronx, I think the people I was hanging with, they were going, so I kind of like followed them. It's like, oh, we going to the Bronx? Okay, let's go to the Bronx. Let's hang out in the Bronx. But I didn't really have, I didn't have a reason to go out there. Same thing with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, I probably went there by myself probably at the age of 17. And that was because there was two twins that I grew up with, Leon and Dion. And their father lived in Queens.
Okay.
But their mother lived in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So when they would be like, yo, we're going to go visit our mom in Brooklyn, I'd be like, all right, come on, let's go. I'll jump on the train with them and go to Brooklyn. So that's basically how I started, going to Brooklyn like that. But other than that, I really had no reason to go to other boroughs.
Yeah, I think everybody in New York City grew up around twins. I don't know why that was back then. Like, our twins was Andre and Arnold. And so really weird. Now, you've also said to me in the past that you didn't think in terms of expectation for your life that you would even live past 20.
Oh,
what was going on that made you think like that?
You talk about nearsighted. I did not see past the age of 20, 21 years old. If anybody was to tell me back then that you would live to see 55 years old, I would have been like, absolutely. There's no way in the world I'm going to make it to 55.
Right.
Because I didn't really have any goals. I didn't have any visions. It was just like living for the day. And the stuff that I seen around me, it's like people that are doing what I'm doing don't live past 20, 21 years old. You know what I mean? So I didn't expect to live past 20, 21 years old. So I basically said, you know what, have your fun now because it's not going to last too much longer.
What was the day-to-day goal, though? Because typically, like, there is a goal, right? If you get into a particular game in the streets, you're either trying to obtain money, obtain power, obtain material things. What was the end goal for you?
That was basically it, where I would wake up every morning and what really drove me was getting money.
Wow.
How am I going to get money today?
Right.
And I had various ways of getting money, which was all illegal. But that was just my thing of just getting money. But if you was to ask me, well, what are you going to do with this money? What's the purpose of getting the money? I just would have been like, just to have to spend it so I wouldn't need money. So on my day-to-day basis, I would have money for food, money to go buy gear so I can impress the women and stuff like that. But that was basically it. I had no end game. It was just, that's what's motivating me is get up, get money, and whatever happens, happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
The other thing that you and I have in common is why we actually left New York City to come to Albany. Why'd you go to Albany? Why'd you go to Albany?
Basically what happened is my wife is from Albany.
Okay.
So that's how I wound up going to Albany. But before that, my wife and I met back in 89, like the summer of 89 is when we met. And back then, she used to visit her father in Rochdale Village. She used to come from Albany and spend the summers in Rochdale Village with her father. And at the time, I was at the part of my life where I was selling drugs. So I was on a bench in the park. She was walking by, And I'm like, I know she's not from around here. So I said hi, and she just kind of like ignored me and kept on. So I'm like, wow, she didn't say nothing. So that made me want to like make her like, come on, you can't. So a couple days went by, and she spoke. And then after that, it was more like whenever she walked by, hey, how you doing? What wound up happening is not too long after that, in September, like right after the summer, I wound up catching a life bid. So now I'm doing life in prison, and I was on the visiting floor with my son's mother, and lo and behold, she was on the visiting floor. She came with her friend who was visiting her husband, and after the visit was over, we went to the back, and he was like, "Yo, my wife came to see me. Her friend said that she knew you. She wants to know if she can write you." So I'm like, "Well, who's her friend?" So he had a picture that they took on the visiting floor. So I looked at the picture. So I'm like, "I don't know this person." I said, "But if she want to write me, fine, no problem." And then I think that night he got on the phone to tell them like, "Yeah, he said you can write." And he seen me in the yard after that and said, "She want to know, can she come and see you?" So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So, she comes to see me, but when she came this time, she came with the girlfriend, and she came with two other women who were there to see their boyfriends. And when I got down there, I didn't recognize her. So when I seen all the girls sitting there, the one who I thought was her, I sat down and started talking to her and stuff like that. And she was at the vending machine. She wound up coming to the table. And I realized, oh, she's the one that said she knew me. But I'm like, okay, so hey, how you? So I turned around, hey, how you doing? So we started talking. So I guess she realized I didn't really recognize her. She was like, "You really don't recognize me, do you?" So I'm like, I said, "Nah, I don't." She was like, "I'm the girl from the park." And that's when it clicked, because I never knew her name. I used to call her the girl from the park. So I said, "Oh, wow." She was like, "What are you doing here?" So I'm like, "Well, what are you doing here?" Because she was never that type that would, come to a prison to see people and stuff like that. So we started talking. She was like, "What happened to you?" I always wondered what happened to you. I used to walk by that bench and you wasn't there no more. I said, "Well, this is what happened to me."
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And so that transition, so when you got out, you were in Albany, or did you go back to New
Yes.
York
No,
and come to Albany?
when I got out, I went straight to Albany.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I got out, because she was from Albany. While I was in doing prison time, we did some things together, started some businesses and stuff like that, which helped her get a house. So I'm like, well, listen, my new life is going to be in Albany. I want to get far away from New York City as possible because, you know, in prison, I actually had vision now. I had a goal. I wanted to live.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So even though I was doing a life bid and had the possibility of never coming home, I guess it's like one of those near death experiences where
Yeah.
you experience death almost, and it's like it changes you. So when the judge said I had that life bid, to me, it was like a death sentence. So that's when I was like, you know what? Nah, this can't be it for me. I can't die in prison.
Right.
So, I had that will to want to do better. And when I met her, it just like took it to the 10th degree. So that's when I said, when I get out, I want to come to Albany with her and start my life there.
So clearly, and I'm gonna get back to her in a minute, but life wasn't life because you ain't spent a whole life. How did you
No,
flip outside of it?
because what happened was my original sentence was 15 to life,
Got you.
which means you do a minimum of 15 years, and then they can keep you for the rest of your life. So
Depending on your behavior.
depending on your behavior.
Got you.
So when I was coming up on my 15 years, I'm thinking I'll be good, I'll be all right. At the time, for people who weren't from New York, Governor Pataki got into office.
Yeah.
And Governor Pataki said anybody with a violent felony, they have life on the end of their sentence, they're never going home. And he stayed true to that promise. And when I did my 15 years and went to the first board, they hit me with 2 years. And it was for the nature of the crime.
Okay.
And that's the one thing in your crime you can't change. You can't change the nature of the crime.
Right.
you know, if you're in there for murder, that's it. You're in there. I can't go back and take that back. So then I went to my second board. Hit me again. Nature of the crime. So I went to my third board. Nature of the crime. So I'm like, well, what do I have to do? Because I can't change the nature of my crime. Right. But basically, the commissioners was like, this is what we have to do. I mean, they didn't say that, but they gave me that look like, this is what Pataki wants. He don't want y'all going home. So basically, you're not going home. Because that's what those reports were saying. Like, you know, when you get your decision, it basically will say nature of the crime. So we can't let him go at this time.
What changed?
So what changed was, I'm not going to say I found like a loophole, but what I said was, if you can't take my word for it, that I'm a changed man, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around to every correction officer that I know, every person who works in the Department of Corrections that I know, and I'm going to get a letter from them saying that since I've known this individual, this is all that I've seen from him. And I got about 25 letters from captains, lieutenants, correctional officers, counselors, people who worked in head departments in Albany. And when I presented them letters to them, it was almost like, we can't hold him because now we don't have a reason to, because you have all these people saying that he's a changed man. So for them to say that, and they had to read it into the record.
Okay.
So it's almost like if he goes to court for this, he's going to beat it. So now it came to, there's 3 commissioners and 2 of them have to say yes. Otherwise, you know. So 2 of them said yes, 1 still said no. But that's how I wound up making it out, because I had to basically have the system speak for me. Because my family, that wasn't working. Letters from family, they're like, well, that's your family. Of course they're going to say. But to have their own people, so to speak, speak on my behalf and like, yo, let him go. He needs to be let go.
Right.
That's how I wound up.
Right. What changed your hope, though? Because you said that, I mean, you go from not thinking you were going to live past 20 to getting a life bed, to meeting a woman, and then having your hope change, not your outlook change, but you are now hopeful that life could be different.
Yes. That was my wife.
Wow.
When I met her, I said, there's no way in the world that this is a coincidence. Here's a woman who I didn't see like any other woman. Because in the street, I seen women as just, you know, girlfriends or whatever, you hang out with them, but there's no real love there. But with her, I respected her. Even though I didn't really know her, I respected her in the streets. So now when I meet her again in prison, it's like, there's no way in the world. How this is divine intervention right here. So when we hit it off, I'm like, you know what? There has to be a reason why God brought her back into my life. And just the conversations that we had, and I learned more about her and what she does, I'm like, nah. It gave me that hope of, you know what? I want to be with her.
Right.
You know, I don't want this to be like a jailhouse. Really, I really want to be with her. So that's when I start thinking of, I wonder how it would be, you know, if I was to get out and we actually, you know, had a house together and we had kids together. So now I'm thinking stuff that I've never thought of before. Wow. I'm now thinking about it.
What's she see in you?
That's a good question. And I always ask myself that. What did she see? Because my thing is, and I always tell her this, if roles were reversed and you were in prison and I was out in the street, I don't think I could have did all that time with you.
Right.
Because she did about 16, 17 years. No, she did more than that. She did about 20 years of prison with me.
Wow.
And I'm like, if that was me, I don't think I could have did that much time with you. That's crazy. But she did it. Right. You know what I mean? And you need to get her on the show and ask her that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What did she see in me to make her want to do all that time with me?
Right.
And just put up with all the nonsense that goes with it. As far as coming into the facilities, having to take off your shoes, go through metal detectors, be talked down to by the correctional officers, but she still came back. Driving through them towns that was like straight racist. They wouldn't hide it from you or nothing like that. But she would stay there, even sometimes spend the night there in hotels. But she did it.
Let me flip the question another way so that you can answer it from a different perspective. And that is, what do you think you have that is worth it?
I think what she seen was a person who was not only getting his life together, but there were people who were around me who were like stone cold killers. But I was working with them and they were getting their lives together. So it was more like, you know, he's not just doing this for him, but he really believes in it. And he believes in it so much so that other people are believing in it. So people are like, if he can do it, I can do it as well. You know what I mean? So I think that she's seen that in me. I think she's seen that drive in me for always wanting to do better, because there were things that she was doing that, like for instance, she used to smoke. So I'm like, you don't need to smoke. She was like, nah. I'm like, that's a bad habit. So we got into that. So she stopped smoking. And there was other things that she was doing, not bad, but it was just like I just wanted her to be the best. And I think because she seen that, she was like, okay, he really wants to see me be the best version of myself. And I think that's another reason why, you know, she stuck with me.
What keeps it new? Because you have to, you know, I've learned in my marriage now that, you know, old stuff is old stuff, right? The reason that I got with you ain't the reason that I stay with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and you always have to keep reinventing yourself as a couple to stay interested enough in each other to still kind of overcome the current obstacles, right? Because the current obstacles aren't the old obstacles. I think the old ones put you in position to deal with the new ones, but the new ones are kind of the new ones. What keeps it new? Like, what keeps the relationship fresh? And this is something that I still want to invest in.
I think what it is because like the person that I was 5 years ago is not the person that I am today. So it's like we're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing. So I think that as time goes on, it's like we're falling in love with a different version of that person. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the person she was 5 years ago is not the one that she is today. You know what I mean? So I think that we find various reasons on why we still love the person. You know, because she still makes me smile. She still makes me laugh. There's little things that she does that I just stop and just stare at her and be like, man, and it brings a smile to my face.
Right.
Sometimes she knows what they are. A lot of times she doesn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it's those little things that make you stop and just appreciate, like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She still got it.
Yeah, I was telling Tracy at our last graduation, because every time we're out and I'm taking pictures, like I'm always watching her when she's moving, and I love taking candid pictures of her, like when she doesn't know I'm taking a picture of her, because every time I take it, that picture is saying something, you know, to me. But what I also know about her, which I think is true for you as well, is that what I know she saw in me was potential. It wasn't who I was she saw, it was who she knew I would become or could become that she saw. And so my job every day is to make sure I elevate that potential for her. So it is, you started thinking I was going to be this, but now I've done that 10 times over, but I can't stay here, right? I got to keep elevating the potential so that you're always looking up at where I am ascending to. And that for us kind of keeps it fresh. But we got to become seasoned before we start thinking about that, right? So what is it at 55 that is in your mind that is making you think differently about life?
What it is that it's like sometimes when I sit down and like take a self-inventory of myself, one thing that sticks in my mind is you have more life behind you than you have ahead of you. So what are you going to do with these last years? You know, what kind of impact? What are you going to leave behind? How are people going to talk about you? Like they said, like, you know, what are you going to do with that dash? You know what I mean? So it's almost like I don't want to be of the millions of people who have walked the earth. but they've been forgotten about. People didn't even know that they were born. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be one of those people. I want to be one of those people that have contributed, one of those people who have made an impact, and one of those people that people can actually say, you know what, because of him, my life changed, or my family's life changed, or something like that. So, that's one thing that keeps me going. Another thing that keeps me going is that I've learned so much as far as experience goes, that I feel that I will be doing humanity a disservice if I don't give back. If I don't say, hey, listen, because I used to, a saying that really stuck with me is, I don't know if it's a biblical verse or not, but it says, a fool learns from his mistakes, but the wise man learns from the fool. So I always considered myself the fool. It's like, I'm the one, if you say the fire is hot, I got to touch it to make, you're right, it's hot, it's hot. But I've come to the point where I want to tell people, that fire is hot.
Right.
Don't do it. You know what I mean? So I think that if I don't do that, that I'll be doing not only myself a disservice, but humanity as a whole for not giving back. You know what I mean? So
to date, what's your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishment. That's a good question. What is my biggest accomplishment? Believe it or not, being with my wife for close to 35 years. That's been my biggest accomplishment. Because people always ask, like, how? Like 35 years? How?
Yeah, we're going to get to that how.
Yeah, it's like some people's like, after 2 years, I'm ready to switch up. And for 35, you're talking decades. So I think that's been my biggest accomplishment, to maintain a relationship that long, because my relationships to this day, a lot of them don't last long.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for that one to last that long, I think that's my biggest accomplishment.
What's the lessons that you think your children get from your relationship? When they look at their mom and dad, what do you think they take away from that?
I think that they are in the search for that perfect someone that they can grow old with, because they've literally seen us grow old.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think
it could be bad in a way, because there's no such thing as that perfect person. And there's no such thing as trying to find me in a man, or trying to find your mother in another woman. Because sometimes, no matter what, that woman or that man will never measure up to your mother or father.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So in that way, it could be bad. But in another way, it could be good, because you expect a certain standard. You know what I mean? So you're not just going to fall for any old slouch that's just coming. No, my father is like this, so you have to be at least here or a little better. So I'm just not going for no guy that's down here. So I think that they see that, and they love that we're literally growing old together, and that they see that even when we have our arguments, that it's nothing where. Sometimes in the arguments, when people are angry, they say things that they regret. It's like, even though we're mad at each other, we make sure that we're mindful of what we say.
Right.
And they realize that.
Right.
That, man, dad could have really lit into her. Or mom, when dad said what he said, she could have really hit him below the belt. But she kept it respectful.
Yeah.
That's because she loves him. That's because she knows that it's only an argument. Tomorrow, y'all gonna be lovey-dovey, hugging each other again like nothing never happened. So, so it's like they see things like that, and I think that makes an impact on them, and I think that's what they want.
Yeah, I think for us seasoned folks, right, particularly those of us who have been married for a while, I know with Tracy, there's always this element of something that still becomes the thing that I believe I have to protect her from or protect her of. Like, Arlene is a different person too. Like, one of these days I am going to get her in this chair. She don't know it yet, but it's going to happen. But what I know about her since I've known her is that she's had some ebbs and flows in her life. right? And and I've seen more of the ebbs than the flow. Than I think I've been a part of both of them, but I've witnessed both of them. I did not witness her waiting for you, but I saw the result on the other end. But I also saw her as she was dealing with her mom, and I see her now as she's dealing with her son. And those are so. And so when I say ebbs and flows, people kind of think like it's a really short. It goes like this, right? For Arlene, it goes like that. And so when it gets down here, like that's the point to which I'm saying to myself, I have to protect her because of this. Like, what is the thing about her that you still believe that it is your job and your duty and obligation to make sure that she is protected?
It's like when, let's say you have a lot of money, and then you start to meet people. You start to question the relationship. Are they with me because of my money? Or are they with me because, they really my friends?
Right.
But when you have nothing, and that person is still there with you through thick and thin, it's like, this is a real person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for them being there for me like that when I had nothing, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to be with that person, to protect that person. I'll give that person my last. And Arlene has shown me that.
Right.
Where I had nothing, I had no one, but she was still there. Even when she had nothing, she would make sure I would have. Give me her last. So that in itself made me say, you know what? I am going to be with her through thick and thin, no matter what, no matter what the cost is. You know what I mean? Because it's just something about that. When a person does this for you, when you have nothing, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's for nothing that I had.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
What's that, the beauty of relationship is when somebody's got your back no matter what.
Yes.
Like there ain't nothing that's gonna move them from not having your back. The other thing that I love about the two of you that you are both like extremely creative. Like y'all live in creativity. Like you're always trying to create something, right? And your expectation in the things that you create aren't subpar. Like it's that if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it at this level. You're not gonna do it at this level. Storytelling, writing books, doing films. Like when I realized you guys, I was like, wait, y'all do what? Like, so for those of you who don't know, I actually was in two of their films. Yeah, two of them.
Definitely.
One of them I was a judge, and the other one I was a cop.
Detective.
I ain't get a lead role yet. I'm still hot about not having a lead role, but we're gonna change that. It's still an old role for me to play. And then the other thing that we did together. So I was just him and Arlene was just talking about this the other day, and I was talking about so when we came to Atlanta. So I'm in our office, and I'm sitting in our room where we have lunch and breakfast and stuff in the room. And one day I'm sitting in there and I'm like, because I love The Office. One of my favorite shows is The Office. And I was like, man, we should probably do a show like The Office in here. And we came up with this idea called The Break Room. And we probably did, 8 episodes?
10. We did 10 episodes.
We did 10.
10 episodes, yeah.
Yo, we were before our time. This is where I'm going with the creativity. We were before. If we were still doing that, all that money you talking about, we would have it.
Most definitely.
Right?
Most definitely.
It was fun. It was silly. It was just something to do in one room that had no purpose other than to eat. We figured out how to do a whole show,
Make a whole show
out of there. How do you keep that creativity going? Like, what is that process? Is it a passion or is it something that you're just driven to be?
It is definitely a passion. And it's both of our passions because it's like sometimes when I'm not feeling it, I just listen to her. And I'm like, and I get it back. And it's vice versa. So it's like we kind of feed each other. But I mean, telling stories is something that I knew I wanted to do from like when I was a kid, from as long as I can remember. I used to love watching TV, and the shows that I would watch as a kid, I'll be like, if I was to do this show, how would I have done it? You know what I mean? And sometimes I used to imagine myself as being the main character in the show. So I knew from a very early age that I wanted to tell stories, you know, and it just translated even to when I was in prison. You know, I got to the point where I used to, one thing we used to watch in prison was The Wire.
Yeah.
And I used to watch that series and be like, man, if I was to write that, how would I do it? If it took place in Queens, how would it be? And I would just, you know, go over it in my head over and over. And Arlene, she was a writer as well. So it's like once we put those two together, it's like now we have this saying that what we do is not our 9 to 5, it's our 24/7, because we're always thinking of something. We're always thinking of something new, something innovative. Even in the late hours of the night, we're talking about something.
Both of you are self-taught too.
Yeah, yeah. Self-taught, YouTube University.
YouTube University, make a mistake, hi.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't that we wanted it that way. It's just that when we asked people, they were gatekeeping.
Right.
You know, or they want to charge an arm and a leg. You want how much to do what? I could do that myself.
Yeah.
So we had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. I've since kind of moved, I've shifted on that pendium, right? Because I now realize how much my knowledge and wisdom, what is valued at. And so allowing people to pick my brain is something that I don't allow people to do anymore, because this life you and I are talking about that we have lived, that we have garnered this grave is valuable. And if it's valuable to you, it's even more valuable to me. And I just can't let you rummage in my brain picking stuff without leaving value, right? And I think part of, now some people just cheap and gatekeepers and don't want you there because they're scared you're going to be better than them, all of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
But for folks who are really, really talented and understand the blessing of who they are and what they do, are not afraid, because I can tell you everything I've ever learned, but you ain't ever gonna be me.
Exactly.
You ain't ever gonna have what I have.
Exactly.
Even if I tell you all the ingredients to put in this cake, I guarantee you on the other end it's not gonna taste like mine. Right? And so in that sense, it is, yeah, I'm gonna be open and free. But this is where I draw the line, because Myron Golden always says, people say the phrase, time is money. And he's like, no, time is not money. And he goes into a whole explanation about that. I disagree with him. And I don't disagree in the sense that I don't believe time is money. I just think that we focus on the wrong word when we say time is money. And then there's another word that we have to add on to it to make sense. My sense of it is that time is money because time has value. Time is the value to me, not money. Right?
Exactly.
And so when you come to me, it's not about me wanting money from you. It is about the value of the time you're going to get as a result of me giving it to you.
Exactly.
And so if you want to sit me down and talk to an hour to help you start your business, it's not about me telling you so because I'm afraid that you're going to start a new business. It is because you just wasted an hour of my time and you're not valuing it.
Exactly.
So what you're paying for is what I value, which is my time.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with money. But I had to get in this space to understand that space, because I was that dude that was calling folks, be like, yo, could I holler at you and talk to you about how? And people were like, it was crickets.
Yeah.
Like no one would ever get back to me. And I was like, man, how am I going to get on the come up if I can't get this information? What's the thing out there that's still left for you to do? Like, what is the big thing that you haven't done yet that you really aspire to do in the creativity space?
Is to make films consistently. That's something, and I want to be able to make at least one blockbuster film where I can say I had A-list actors in it, like a Denzel Washington or something like that, where it's like I made like if I could make something that popped like Training Day,
Okay.
that would be like, yeah, okay,
Okay.
I did that. You know what I mean? But that's something that I aspire to do and that I'm aspiring to do. And that's just one of my milestones is to be able to make something that people can see like on a mass scale. Because stuff that I've done have been independent. Yeah, I got a few on Tubi. I did some premieres and stuff like that. But to see your work like in every theater around the country and stuff like that, and to be directing A-list actors and stuff like that, to me, that's like, yeah, that's something that I would definitely.
What is it going to be? A drama, thriller, horror, comedy?
To me, I think it's going to be more of a romantic comedy type of thing.
Okay.
Because naturally, I'm a funny person. You may not know it because I'm kind of cool, calm, and collective. I really don't. And then even my wife sometimes disagrees with me. She thinks that I'm not funny, but I think I'm funny. And
As long as the word corny doesn't come up.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's just something that I would like because definitely romance, when it comes to relationships, that's something that I hold dear to me. And of course, comedy, because comedy, what they say, comedy is like the ultimate medicine. It's like,
Yeah.
Right. To get people laughing,
Right.
they forget about their worries.
Okay.
It relieves stress and all of that. So if I could put those, a romantic comedy together and it hits,
Who's the lead actor in your movie?
I would want it to be, if I had a choice,
Yeah.
to be, I was thinking like either Morris Chestnut, something like that.
No, Morris is not the same Morris. He's old now.
Yeah, okay. So if I was,
So you dating
yeah,
yourself.
I'm dating myself, right?
Dating yourself.
Because of the reason why I say that is because there is a romantic comedy that we are working on called Swipe Right,
Okay.
and it's about two relationship experts. They're married,
Okay.
and they basically help people in their marriages,
Okay.
but they're having problems in their marriage.
Gotcha.
So that's why I thought about like an older couple, like maybe in their 40s or something like that, 45, 50. So, yeah, I was thinking somebody like maybe a Morris Chestnut or something like that.
They're just gonna be an older couple. That's all. He's not that
yeah,
old. He's not the Morris Chestnut from.
Yeah, like back in the wood and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Who's the leading actress?
Yeah. I was thinking somebody like a Sanaa Lathan. Somebody like her, because I always liked her as an actress just because of her depth.
Okay.
It's like she like loving basketball.
Yeah.
Like the emotional range that she
Yeah, I
had
like her too.
in just that film alone.
Yeah.
And then when I seen her in a TV series called Nip Tuck, she was in there for a while. And it's like if you look at the character in Loving Basketball and the character that she played in Nip Tuck, they were totally opposite.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, but she gets into character.
Okay.
So even if it wasn't somebody like her, I mean, even if it wasn't her, somebody that has that range,
Okay.
to do.
So we're gonna speak that project to life. I'm trying to come up with a project. I'm dying to do a film. I might just have to write it myself. And we're gonna have to make this happen. Brother man, thank you for spending some time having this seasoned conversation. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be blessed by the conversation. And hearing some of your wisdom. Right, because sometimes we go along life. We do life with people. We don't even know the people we're doing life with, right? And so, but I think I've learned a lot from both you and Arlene about in this creative space that drives me. I have my own level of creative press that I'm always trying to reach and trying to elevate and do different things and tell stories, especially from the documentary side of things, like just literally bringing awareness to things, and so that people can like see them differently than they hear about them. And so you have a couple of social media channels. Tell people how they can see your work and how they can find your work, and more importantly, how they can purchase your work.
Most definitely. You can go on to Amazon.com. My wife's name, Arlene Brathwaite, ARLENE Amazon. All of the books will come up. We got 2 movies on Tubi, Darkest Before Dawn and Dirty Little Secrets. They're both on Tubi. Our website, if you want to enlist us in any of our videography services, you can go to avonset.com. You can go there to see what we have going on. What else? Instagram is Ali Brathwaite, ALIBRATHWAITE. And YouTube, Brathwaite Publishing.
How many books y'all got?
We got 8 books.
How many films?
Written. We got 2 feature films, a slew of short films. We got a couple web series, like The Break Room was one of them. Snapshot is another one. But yeah.
Out of all your projects, what's your favorite one?
Darkest Before Dawn.
What was it about that one?
A lot of history behind that one, because it was a book that was written. The depression was going. Not the depression. The what's the other word? Not depression. You could say it. Recession. Okay.
Recession.
We're gonna edit it.
Right.
Yeah. The recession was going. This was in the early 2000s. The recession was going on, and at the time we lost a lot of money, a lot of income. Arlene lost a lot of income, and it was at the time where we were threatened to be losing everything: car, house, all of that stuff. And I remember Arlene saying, I wish I could be that type of person that can just go out there and just get money by any means necessary to save what we have, but I'm not that type of person to do that. And, but I remember saying that, it's always darkest before dawn. You know what I mean? Before you see the light, it's always darkest before that happens. And then she came up with the book of, if I was that type of person to do it, this is how it would be done. And that's how Darkest Before Dawn, the book, came.
Okay.
And when we had our bookstore in the mall, there was a guy upstairs named S-Class. He had a music a studio, but he used to shoot videos. So he came through one day, seen our books, and he was like, have you ever thought about turning one of your books into a movie? So he was like, no, we never thought about that. He said, well, if you could, which one would you turn into a movie? So being that Darkest Before Dawn was the most eras, we was like, well, Darkest Before Dawn. He was like, well, I'll shoot it for you.
Really?
He was like, really?
Okay.
He was like, yeah, let's turn it into a movie. So I was like, oh, wow. So that's what got us into film.
Okay.
So that's why that book itself means the most to me.
Okay.
Because it was written at a time where we were really going through some stuff. Okay. And it kind of was like therapy for us. And then that's what got us into film. It was Darkest Before Dawn. Okay. So that's what has made the most impact on me of all the books.
Okay. All right. So now we got to get this blockbuster thing going.
Yes, definitely.
We got to make it happen. And so again, thank you. I can't wait until I get Arlene in the chair. So she don't know. She got a lot to share, a lot of wisdom people need to hear, particularly women, because there's elements of her life that I think that women just need to hear. That wisdom piece of it. It's not so much the detailed story of what you've gone through. It's more the lessons that you've learned as a result of going through life. Like, I think that both men and women today don't have as many people they can go to obtain wisdom. There are a lot of places to get information, right? Yeah. You can pull up your phone, Google, AI. You can get a lot of information. But information don't have a stitch of wisdom in it. That can help you process what you're going through to kind of really understand that. And I think it's a lost art. And And that is the area of creativity that I like to sit in. Like, how can I put my wisdom into this? Not so much the information, because you can get that from anywhere, but how can I show you the context of why this happens and why this occurs and what does this look like? And so that's what I'm looking forward to do more of with the two of you all. And to all of my seasoned conversation listeners and supporters, and those of you who are in the Season Collective, make sure you come to the website, theseasoncollective.com, to sign up so that you can take this journey together with us. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Season Collective. We also have a YouTube page where all of our conversations and things are sitting. And then last but not least, you got to get the book that started all this stuff, Too Seasoned to Care. And you can get that at the Season Collective. You can also get it on Amazon, and we are now on Audible and iTunes. So if you want to hear my voice tell this narrative and story about the season part of my life, you can go there. Until next time, next Friday, God bless, be safe, and as I always like to say, peace out.
Sometimes you gotta lose everything to remember what you were made of. I found life where I was supposed to serve life. This one's called Darkest Before Dawn. Hey. I came up in Queens with a pocket full of dreams. Hey. Chasing fast money, running from the scream. Concrete prayers, cold nights, heavy chains. Thought freedom was the hustle, but the hustle brought pain. Cell door closed, silence loud as a sin. Mirror said, boy, look what you're living in. Ooh, it's always darkest before the gates, sunlight in her eyes. Said you still got life. If you still got time. Every letter she wrote, built a brand new home. Her faith was the key that broke my stone. 20 years awaiting. Two hearts in prayer. But I learned to see, built a legacy from the ashes of who I used to be. Yeah. Now I'm writing my life in golden ink. Ooh. Proof that grace don't care what people think. Yeah. It's always darkest before dawn. When your hope feels too far gone. Grace, don't forget your name. Love can break every chain. I can spend my time. Now I'm living my life, yeah. It's always dark. Just before dawn. Before dawn. Oh, yeah, my life. Yeah. It's always darkest before dawn.
Thank you for joining me for today's Seasoned Conversation. Remember, every step we take shapes the legacy we leave. If you enjoyed today's episode, Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone else navigating their own seasoned journey. To learn more and to become part of our growing community, visit us at theseasoncollective.com. Until next time, stay seasoned, stay purposeful, and remember, it's never too late to care deeply, to live boldly, and to rewrite your story.